why are you going back to your desks right now? They said, well, we have to put in our 8 hours in Jira. You didn't work. I know you were with me for 8 hours. What the heck?
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Real Agile or BS. I'm Peter Saddington with my wonderful colleague, Bob Hartman. We love answering all of your Agile questions. And today we have one that many of you guys have heard about. And if you've taken any type of Scrum course or Agile course, we know that you've talked about it. It's sprint burndown charts. And so the real question is it real Agile or is it BS? Bob, I'm going to throw it over to you just because I want to hear your answer first.
Well, Peter, over the years, I've thought a lot about sprint burndown charts. I did a long series of blog articles about them a number of years ago. My problem with them is people manipulate them to lie to make them look better. And so when used properly, they can certainly be a tool that can help our Agile be more successful. When used improperly, all they do is cause issues. And so using them properly, to me, means don't burn down by task hours, because that's just showing how hard you're working. Burn down by the value created or story points or something. So when an item is done, we get credit for it. So we can see how we're actually completing items. That to me can help us understand whether we're on the right pace to finish within our sprint. But even then, if you just look at the status board, the Scrum board in the middle of the sprint, if half the things aren't done, you're not on track. So I don't know that you need a chart to track that. It can be useful, but if it's not useful, to me, it's pointing out that if you're tempted to change it, it's pointing out that you have a core problem that you need to fix. So, I mean, I can't even count, you probably can't either, the number of burn down charts that if you go by value delivered, they go flat. They're not even burning down. It's a flat chart, and then they dive for the finish at the end. I call it the waterfall chart. It's like code like crazy, test like crazy, see if we get lucky. And to me, that's not really very useful. So can it be a useful tool? Yes. Has to be done right. Can it be a harmful tool? Absolutely. Can it be a misleading tool? Absolutely. Will management want it all the time if you show it to them once? Absolutely. So don't show it to them that much. It's a tool for the team. I just don't care if teams use them or not anymore. I used to be a big proponent of them. I liked them when done right, but I'd rather have teams look at what's behind the numbers. I'd rather have them looking at that Scrum board to say, this is what's really happening to our team. How do we make these things get to the done state? To me, that's the biggest thing that matters.
I'm right there with you. And so it can be real Agile if used with discipline and used effectively, but it certainly can be BS when it's misused. And so I really appreciate your very well thought out and contextually all encompassing answer there. It was very well. I mean, you covered pretty much everything that I've been thinking about, but I'll tell you my guidance, Bob, is Eli, and Eli, actually, I'll start off with two quotes because I used to do this a lot, but these days I kind of just roll it off the tongue. But I remember Eli Goldratt. Some of you guys know Eli Goldratt, systems thinker, wrote some great books. And he said, tell me how you'll measure me, and I will tell you how I will behave. If you measure me in an illogical way, then do not complain about illogical behavior. And so I think it's important that we understand that if we understand as humans how we're going to be measured, we naturally kind of gamify our behaviors to the measure. Let me give you another one. It's called the Hawthorne effect. The Hawthorne effect is an effect studied on humans around that humans or subjects improve an aspect of their behavior simply in response to the fact that they're being studied, or if they know they're being studied. And so if we take these two ideas, Eli Goldratt's, tell me how you measure me, I'll tell you how I behave. Hawthorne effect, subjects improve an aspect of their behavior based on the fact that they know that they're being measured. These types of ideas really help me give guidance to my students and to my clients that measurement is for, and you said it really well here, it's for the team. It's for the team to self-manage, to self-organize, and to help them figure out how to deliver value better. Now let's get back to sprint burndown charts. I hate them. I'm just gonna make it really clear. I hate them. And the reason is because from coming from a data background, a burndown chart actually falls in the category of a lagging indicator. And lagging indicators lack and lag the context of the moment in time. And so they're always going to lag the actual work being done. I'm 100% with you. I always say, instead of a burn down chart, let's go to the wallboard, because that's actually telling us what's going on, number one. Number two, it tells us what's going on in progress. And number three, it's a visual representation of the workflow, and it has context that we can point to and say, hey, tell me about this story. Tell me about this task. Burn down charts are so generic, so bland. And if we're intellectually honest, for many of you guys out there who've been doing Agile and Scrum, you know what the first 3 or 4 days of your burn down chart looks like. It looks like this. And a non-sensitive, non-contextually relative manager will look at your burn down chart and say, hey, apparently y'all ain't been doing nothing for 3 days. Well, that's not necessarily true. Actually, we have been delivering. The metric that we've been giving to you is ineffective for giving you context to how to make informed decisions around how to engage with us, and even how to help us or unblock us. So I know I said a lot there, but I will say, and this is just Peter Saddington's opinion, that in the current world today, burn down charts are BS. I would much rather use a bigger, more contextually helpful information radiator like a wallboard, so we can actually have conversations about it, instead of using a burn down chart or a metric as a bludgeon to say, y'all ain't been working. So I'm off my high horse. That's just me. Maybe there's some context because I'm a developer and I hate being bludgeoned by metrics that don't matter. But I think it's just BS in today's world. Burn down charts are not a necessity, is the way that I'll say it.
Well, Peter, that situation you gave where the first 3 days it goes flat, it's kind of funny because that's what happens in a lot of companies. And then the developers say, well, we're working hard. We need to get credit for that. So that's when they start burning down by hours. And now the chart looks great, but they're not getting anything done.
No value.
They're working a lot of hours, not finishing a lot of stuff. So it doesn't help in that situation. I did a class for a company. And after the first day of class, everybody got up and went back to their desks rather than leaving the company. I was like, why are you going back to your desks right now? They said, well, we have to put in our 8 hours in Jira. You didn't work. I know, you were with me for 8 hours. What the heck? Well, our burn down chart, if it doesn't look good, we're not going to work. Our management's going to get to put us in trouble. Like, what the heck? So that was literally the day I decided burn down charts are not as useful as I had previously perhaps thought.
I think with any type of corporate culture, there is some theater, right? I mean, I think we can concede that there's some theater. And I think where, in my opinion, the majority of theater is in the metrics, because metrics, just like any type of data set, can be completely convoluted and construed to the objective, bias, outcome that you desire, or the type of messaging that you desire. And so I find, to cut through the noise, and this is what I tell the classes and clients all the time, cut through the noise. Don't go to the metric, go to the board, because that's where actual work is being done. And if you want to ask questions around value, in progress, blockers, risk, non-functional issues, et cetera, you can do it at the board. So I think Scrum has the answer. And it's called the wall board and then the backlog, right? There's all that transparency there. And so I think those two mechanisms used more effectively and used more consistently can certainly remove the need for any type of metric like a burn down chart. So that's my 2 cents. I think burn down charts are BS. They don't have questions in the Scrum exam anymore around them. So that's a good thing. So maybe, maybe it's a thing of the past. I'll let you have the last word, Bob.
We can only hope that it's a thing of the past. I think really people need to recognize that measuring on a day-by-day basis is only really useful for the team. At a higher level, it makes no sense. But if we're going to measure on a day-by-day basis, let's measure what matters, which is how complete are we, not how much work have we done. I tell people all the time, is it possible to work really hard and get nothing done? The answer is, of course, yes. Yeah. Is it harder but possible to work very little and get a lot done? The answer, again, is yes. Okay, so stop doing the first one and start doing more of the second one. And don't worry about a damn chart. Let's just get it done, right? To me, that's really what matters.
That reminds me, and I just have to say this comment before we close. That reminds me so much of how it, as backwards as it sounds, I sometimes feel like managers would rather have you work 8 hours just so that you can be under that control of that 8 hours than to be able to finish the job in 2 hours because you've optimized or automated. And it's like, well, you didn't work 8 hours. It's like, well, I got it done in 2. What's the issue here? Yeah. So metrics, guys, be safe with metrics, be smart, make informed decisions around them. But I think for both of us, Bob and I think we can agree here that the wallboard is probably in many cases the best mechanism for getting updates to what the team is actually doing. Guys, you have opinions out there, you have comments, make sure that you throw them down in our YouTube section, comment below. Let us know your opinions. Also, you can always comment on these videos because we post them in our Agile community site on agileforall.com. So make sure that you check that out. It's growing every week because we have classes every week and we got new people in there that are joining, and we'd love to have your feedback in the community. Thanks so much for joining us for this episode of Real Agile or BS. We'll see you guys next time.